First of all, yes, I'm in a different car. No, I'm not going to explain. But what I want to talk about here in this video is something that occurred to me last night when I was doom scrolling. Well, I was just scrolling, actually. On the gram, on IG. Which, I mean, I don't even know why I do that. It proves that there's something addictive about it, because it's not like I think to myself, oh boy, it's not like I really like Instagram, but since I have it, even though they've kicked me off 5 or 6 times when they found out who I really was, and because I'm permazooked, that's another story too. But I'm still, I'm there pretending to be somebody I'm not, but not really trying that hard. But anyway, I'm scrolling again through, and there's this one segment that I land on, and it's this very sincerely delivered segment where this guy who looks like maybe he's in his late 40s, balding on the top, long hair, and I don't know. I'm just trying to give a general flavor and picture of the guy. But he comes across as somebody who's, again, trying to impress you with his maybe just not even trying to impress you with sincerity, just somebody who is sincere. And it's this video about how when Nixon was in the White House, he put recording devices everywhere and ended up recording a bunch of his own conversations, and revealed so much about how much of a racist he was. Like there were conversations where he said things about Jews, like how you can never trust Jews, and they're always Jewish first and American second, and you can't, you don't know whether they're really ever on your side or not. And he said things about Italians, like that they just are too emotional to ever get anything done. And he said blacks, that blacks will be able to integrate within American society only over the course of several centuries after they get, absorbed into white culture. And so all these things that Nixon said that revealed his prejudices towards people of other races, and the guy was delivering this in this just shows how much we should condemn. How did a man like Richard Nixon end up in the White House, that he could be the president and still have these kinds of be such a vile bigot in so many ways against all these different groups. And so that was the video, and it was delivered in a way that he just figured everybody underneath was just going to say, yeah, you're right, what a creep that Nixon was, what a racist asshole that Nixon was. But without fail, every single comment, and I mean every comment. I scrolled down for a while. There were hundreds of comments, maybe thousands, and every single one was some variation of, "Look, I like Nixon already. You don't have to. You don't have to try so hard to convince me to now." Or I liked Nixon before, and now I like him even more. And Nixon was right, and he was right about Jews, and he was right about. Some people said, well, he was right about everybody except blacks, but still, that's 5 or 6 ain't bad. I mean, that was the most criticism that Nixon was getting, was that, you know, he was incorrect in his assessment of blacks, but all these other groups that he was down on, he was absolutely right on the money about. And it struck me that this is evidence of a paradigm shift. And it's not the only evidence that I've seen. It's just a specific instance of this phenomenon being revealed. Because I think 20 years, like the internet didn't exist as it exists right now. But say that 20 years ago there was an Instagram and that video was on Instagram. I think the way you would, well, maybe let's go back even further. Let's go back 30 years, just to be on the safe side. I mean, I know for sure when I was growing up in, you know, in the 80s and 90s, you know, when I was a teenager in the 80s and in my 20s in the 1990s, that there were responses to that video would be, oh God, that Nixon, or it would be like taking shots at Nixon. It would be you know, proving that you're cool for by really finding some scathing way to talk about Nixon and the kinds of whack shit that he's saying, you know, as revealed in this video about minority groups. Oh boy, there's somebody sneaking up on me to kill me. He's going to kill me. Or is that a she? She's going to open my door and stab me in the neck. Oh God. Oh good, I avoided. I guess she opted not to at the last minute. Thank God. I live another day. But yeah, so my point here isn't really to make a moral judgment one way or the other. It isn't to say, it isn't to judge the commentary one way or the other. It's just to make an observation that, you know, if Instagram was somehow around in some form in the 90s, then the way that you would get on and prove that you were cool to other people would be to say Nixon sucks. This shows how much Nixon sucks, and you know, to make obscene jokes about Nixon and whatever. But now the way that you show that you're cool is to be racist. It's like it was cool 30 years ago to prove your bona fides. And I'm not even talking about virtue signaling here. I'm talking about something different from virtue signaling. Virtue signaling is one thing, where you try to show how righteous you are, what a good person you are. But there's also something where you try to show how cool you are. I don't know what that's called. It's some other kind of signaling where you posture for coolness, you know. And I know that 30 years ago, racism was not cool. It was not cool. And all the hipsters were down on racism. Now, if you want to be cool and hip, you join the avalanche of comments, you know, sarcastically responding to this video about Nixon's racism and prejudice by signaling the exact opposite, by saying, you know, he wasn't a great president, but he was this video shows he was right on some things. You know, maybe this whole Keynesian economics wasn't so great, you know, and so forth. Getting off the gold standard wasn't really a good thing. Wasn't a great choice, but this video shows that he was pretty based. Nixon was pretty based. And everybody said, yeah, based. All right, Nixon, super based. And that that's just different. Forget about how you feel about it one way or the other. Try to strip away your sentiment about being racist versus being anti-racist, or what have you. This just shows that there is a paradigm shift, and again, it's one instance of it. If this were just, this could be called an outlier if it were something that just stood by itself. I guess that's the definition of an outlier. That's brilliant. I'm brilliant this morning. I mean, what I'm saying is this is of a piece with a general sentiment that I see more and more out there. And yeah, of course, it's not at the point. It's of course the official. If you're wanting to apply for a job, you still don't want to sound racist. Don't get me wrong, but to be cool, you you want to be racist now. When that was definitely not the case, just relatively speaking, a fairly short time ago. In my lifetime, in my youth, it was not cool. It was definitely not cool to be racist, to get on this commentary and approve of the things that Nixon said. would be if you did that, then everybody would turn on you. You'd get downvoted, and people would hate on you and call you names and stuff. But now it's switched around, and as I said, just to reiterate, this does not mean that the racists have the upper hand in society. It is showing that significantly, and I think amongst the young, probably definitely amongst the young men than among young women, but still, it's young men who are the engine that really gets stuff done. And I'm sorry for how that sounds. No, I'm not. I'm sorry, not sorry. It's the truth. When I think that we see increasing evidence that there's been this switch, there's been this turnaround. That's just my observation.